welcome to another episode of Simmer Clips. Today's question comes from the server-side tagging in Google Tag Manager course on Simmer, and don't forget to check the video notes for more information about this course and all our other courses. Let's jump right to the question. Is it possible to have a single server container serve multiple different main domains that send requests to it? Or do I need a separate cloud project and container per source domain? This is a great question, and it has a lovely answer because the answer is yes, you can have a single server container serve multiple main domains. That means that you don't need to set up different containers, you don't need to set up different projects for your different main domains. There are some nuances when it comes to how App Engine works on multi-region setups, and we'll discuss these in this video. Let's start from the most common scenario. You have a server-side container and you want to map multiple domains to that. So you might have multiple main domains in your organization, such as your e-commerce store, your blog, and so on, or maybe different country domains. And you want to keep everything within the same server container for whatever reason. Well, this is luckily extremely easy to do with the Google Cloud Platform. In App Engine, you can simply just map multiple domains to your project, and each domain will then work with the server-side container. To add the custom domains, you follow the regular process of mapping them in the Google Cloud Platform. So in this case, we have mapped two different subdomains to our project, and now we can access the server-side tagging environment through both domains. So then the other option is that we don't want to use only the same App Engine project. Maybe we have different cloud projects for each website that needs to communicate with our server-side tagging environment. This is also completely doable. What you need to do in this case is when you deploy the project using Docker or using the shell script, if you're still going with App Engine, or when you're deploying with Cloud Run using a shell script, and I've linked to these in the video notes. In this case, you need the container config string, which you get by clicking your container ID in the Google Tag Manager UI. You can ignore the other options here. All you need is this container configuration string. This is what you need to input when you are deploying the Docker container, following the instructions for the manual setup. For example, if you are running the upgrade script in Cloud Shell for App Engine, the very first question is, what is your container config string? So this is where you would paste the container config string you get from Google Tag Manager. And this way you can link multiple different cloud projects, not just those on Google Cloud Platform. You could have one main domain represented by GCP, another by Amazon AWS, a third by Azure. You can configure as many cloud projects as you want, all pointing to the same server container using the container config string. This is what links the cloud infrastructure or the Docker infrastructure with your server-side project. So in this case, we still have a single server-side container, server-side tagging container, and now we have multiple different cloud projects all pointing to the server container. This is, again, totally doable. There are no special circumstances involved with it. It's just a question of mapping your different server infrastructures with the server-side tagging environment using the container config string. As I mentioned in the intro, App Engine does have a little caveat in that it's single region only. So when you create a new App Engine project in Google Cloud Platform, whether through the automatic provisioning system in Server-Side Tag Manager or when you manually create a project, you need to choose a region, and your project is then forever fixed in that region for App Engine. So if you have multiple regions and you want to manage them in the same project, it gets a bit more complicated because you need to actually use a cloud platform service that supports multiple services running in the same project. And one of these is Google Cloud Run, where you can spin up multiple services, each one representing a single geographic region for the data processing, and each one pointing to the server container. And it's done exactly like this. So you deploy the Docker container into Cloud Run with the container config. And then you need a load balancer which distributes the traffic. And that's not in the scope of this guide, but I just wanted to put it out there that App Engine is severely limiting when you're running in a single project and you want to run multiple regions or multiple services, for example. But just to wrap things up, you can have your single server container serving multiple domains, even multiple cloud services or server infrastructures. And it's quite easy to do following the basic setup in Google Cloud Platform or when deploying manually using the Docker container.